Hey, what's up, Bobby? We're live.
Hello.
Why don't you just take a second to introduce yourself? Just tell us, your TikTok ads, and then who you are and what you do.
Yeah, all right. I'm Bobby, if you can't already tell. My TikTok is at Pootdamelio. That's my main one. And then the backup, like the spam is Grootdamelio, but I don't know. I kind of just vibe. I kind of talk political a little bit. Usually social issues, and then just sometimes spam. So
Mhm.
it's a
Well,
mix of
spamming's getting
everything.
fun ever since the comment, like the reply feature to the comments. The spamming's been getting like fun just to mess with
Yeah.
that.
Because like people will like leave comments and they think that like they can just leave them and I won't see them. I won't catch them in my notifications, but like I see them so quick. So like when like the wallets come into the comments, it's usually like I catch them like right then and there.
Yeah. So how did you get your name Poot D'Amelio? Where did that stem from?
Oh, okay. I forgot what my original username was. Like it was a while ago, but I was just like because before I got into like anything like political or anything like that, I was just like everyone else just making TikToks. And then my account got blocked from posting for a week and I didn't know what to do. So I made a backup account and I didn't know what to call myself. So I saw like a lot of people using Charlie D'Amelio's like last name and like using pictures of her and like her family and stuff on their accounts. And so I was like, I'm gonna hop on this trend. If I like add D'Amelio to my username, people are like, gonna follow me.
Yeah.
And it worked. People like I had like my one friend change his entire username like to something D'Amelio because like of my username.
Uh-huh. That's hilarious. I mean, it's a great name. It's like memorable too. So it's that's what
Yeah,
you want. You want something like short, but also like memorable and recognizable. Uh, you're in New York, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in
Ha-
like Western New York, but I like am mainly in New York City.
okay. Have you
Mhm.
have you experienced any of the protests, or have you been to any of the protests with everything going on?
I was supposed to go to a protest in Buffalo, but it was that protest. I don't know if you've seen the video going around online with like the police officer that like pushed the old man to the
Mm-hmm.
ground and like that old dude started like bleeding. Like that was the protest that I was supposed to go to. So my
Ooh.
mom was like worried about me going, and so I decided to wait until the next protest to go. But then like the next one was just the same kind of, and so she wasn't with the idea of me getting all up in that, which I get, but
Yeah.
I wanted to go.
Sure, for sure. Yeah, that was insane. Just seeing them push
Yeah, it
the
was
old man
wild.
down, and then worse, all the entire like police department resigned or whatever, to stand behind the firing, or to stand behind their fellow officers. Like, it's insane.
Hmm. And like there were still people like in the area, like people that I knew that were defending the police officers, and I'm like, are you guys serious? Like, do you not see the entire world like disagrees with you? Like the actual like entire world.
Yeah. Do you have to deal with that a lot? Like, are there a lot of people or a lot of people like in your circle that
Not
are like
really
that?
so much. Not after I graduated high school. Because like
Mhm.
most of the people that I still like knew that were like that have either unadded me because of like me posting on all my social medias about like the protests and stuff and Black Lives Matter, or they've slid up and like said some stupid things and like I've had to unadd them or
Yeah,
educate them. I've had some people like that I've had like actually good discussions with, but for the most part, it's just like stupid people.
sure.
Yeah.
um, what like inspired you to start making your political content? Because I mean, that's probably, I mean, you really popped off in the past month or two. I discovered you in the past month, and I've
Yeah.
just seen you grow pretty fast. Even with two accounts, you grew.
Yeah,
So
I
what
know
like
it's
inspired
wild.
you to do that?
Um, I don't know. I kind of just like have a big mouth. I really just have a big mouth, and people, I like wasn't seeing people talk about things that like I felt like I wanted to hear talked about. So I was like, if no one else is doing it, like someone else wants to hear these things being said, so I might as well be the one to say it. And yeah, I literally don't know. Like sometimes I just look at my phone and I see like that number, like 100 something, like 103,000 people, and that's just on one account. And I'm like, these are real people. I have to like look at it, and I'm like, because like this account, I literally made my accounts like maybe a month or two ago,
Yeah.
and so it's really cool like having so many people like support what you have to say, especially when I feel like what you have to say is like important. That's really what
Hmm.
matters.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm definitely a fan of your content. I think,
Thank you.
yeah. So from, I mean, it's important, that we have a diverse set of voices in our society. But
Yeah.
with the BLM movement going on, what is your take on like what is the end goal, or like what is in your words and in your way of putting it, what is the reason behind why we're doing this, or why BLM is happening, and what's the end goal?
Hmm. I feel like the end goal, the end goal is I can't say I can't decide between whether it's equality or equity,
Mm-hmm.
because the system that we have like in place right now has messed things up so royally that like I don't even know like equality from where we are right now. Equality isn't an option. We need equity. We need like people to be helped because of how far down they've been put by this system. But at like after all of that is like resolved, like once we get everyone on the same playing field, then we can start working towards equality. But I feel like right now our end goal is equity, because equality is not really gonna cut anything right now.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Have you had any experiences with racism, like firsthand?
Oh yeah, a
Yeah.
lot. Sometimes like I can't even just pick one. It's like so frequent. It's like
Mm-hmm.
more than you would think for 2020.
Oh, geez. Any
Yeah.
any 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 instance that stands out that you'd want or feel comfortable sharing?
Um, yeah, okay. There was a time in high school. I I live like in a primarily white community, like went to a primarily white high school. And I'm very whitewashed. And so like in high school, I did not speak out much on like um issues with like racism and stuff like that. But around like my senior year, I got to be more vocal about it, because like I just like started growing in my mindset. And so like a lot of people in my town were full of like the types of people that will say like they're not racist, but like they'll say the N-word in songs, or like
Mm.
they'll just say it because that's how they grew up. Like they grew up in the hood, like as hood as like this white town can get. But so I like had to try and tell some of my friends like that you can't be saying that. And like we had a group chat because like a lot of stuff went on in high school. So like we had a big
Sure.
group chat with like maybe 20 or 30 people in it just for like moves. And in the group chat, I called out some of the people that would like say the N-word and stuff. And I was like, y'all can't be doing this. And they like got mad at me for being offended. And like it was a whole big thing because like one of my best friends was in that group chat, and they started like advocating for like the people that were saying the N-word, being like, it's just like in like the lingo, like people aren't going to stop saying it just because you say to stop and stuff like that. And so I like lost a lot of friends from that, like because that group chat was basically like not like all my friends, but like a big portion of them. And like I would say around half of the people agreed with me, and like half of them didn't. And that was just absurd. Like to see people that would like say that they're your friends, but like can't respect like something that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. That's ridiculous. I mean, very unfortunate, and couldn't fathom like just people using that word directly to you or around you when you know you're asking them to stop, and clearly they should know by now. I mean, they have the internet, they have resources
Yeah.
to know why it's bad. Um, I I had a little bit of a not nowhere near like as close of an experience, but like my straight friends would say, you know, faggot, and
Yeah.
I took it's they said it a few times, and it took me a few times to say it, but they eventually stopped doing it because I explained it to them. But yeah, I don't know. Saying the N word is terrible. It's a worse word than faggot. I'm just gonna say that, and you agree probably.
Yeah, I mean they both suck. I've been called both plenty of times. Uh
Sure.
but it sucks.
Yeah. You identify as bi, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it? So is that like? So how's that being a black bi person? Is that like another layer of discrimination that you definitely face?
Um it depends. I'm not My voice sits very high naturally, so like if I like try to like pass it with a straight voice, like it doesn't really work like that because like my straight voice is so whitewashed that people just assume anyhow. Um like I don't really like have much in the way of hiding it.
Sure.
So I really try to just embrace it. And the people that like have a problem with it, like that come in my DMs and saying like stupid stuff like faggot or the N word or whatever, um, I don't really let it get under my skin anymore because like I you look at these accounts and they all look the same. They either all don't have a profile picture and have like 3 followers, or all literally look the same if they have pictures uploaded.
Yeah. That's so true. The troll accounts are just they're nobodies. They're people who are too coward to hide behind. They hide
Yeah,
behind their screen, and they don't show their face or link their Instagram or anything.
like I don't accept someone calling me out of my name if they won't even if they won't even show me who they are,
Hmm.
because then you know that like they know that if they showed themselves on the internet they would get dragged, and so
Yeah.
that's why they're doing it from an anonymous account. And so I'm not going to let someone that like doesn't even have the balls to like say it with their chest affect me.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's just a stupid troll. It's probably a 13-year-old that has nothing
Yeah.
better to do. What so let's see. So talk to me about your experience as a black person with all of this going on. You've been very vocal on TikTok, which is great, but what have you had any experiences in person or online where people just don't get it, or you've had to explain yourself? I know you said that you've been explaining yourself to some friends, but what do you tell those people?
Um, it depends on the questions they ask because there's so many different ways to like offend someone. And people like always get confused because they feel like there's so many like there's new ways of offending people every day, and like people are just getting sensitive and whatnot, but it's really not that. It's just that the conversation is becoming more open and people are realizing that a lot of things that they used to do are wrong. And
Hmm.
so it depends on like what really was said or what I'm trying to get across to someone, because some things like uh microaggressions, they take more explaining and like more analysis kind of to do than just debunking someone's like cherry picked statistic.
Hmm.
So depends really where I'm what they're coming at me with.
Okay, so let's do a little role play then. What so if I say uh, should we defund the police? What's your stance? How would you explain to someone why or why not we should defund the police?
Okay. First I look through their accounts to see what kind of content they post, because uh if they give me like a very like Papa Gut kind of vibe, or like Nick Videos kind of vibe, I'm not gonna be as tolerant or as sugar coaty with my explanation as I might like someone that's just like confused. But as for defunding the police specifically, I would probably, oh, I hear children screaming. Never mind. I would probably talk about how the police are not just a one size fits all kind of thing, like that they can't solve every single problem. Like if you send a police officer to a house with an abusive parent where there's a child there, like what good could a police officer do that a social worker or someone from child protective services could not do better? And then I would probably refer to the fact that they most likely don't have a problem with defunding schools and getting rid of after school programs, as well as departments like music and sports that can keep people out of certain situations that would involve police getting called, like abuse or gang related things like that.
So there's is a solution, and I agree, but I like hearing your point of view. Is a solution to move money around and take it and not spend as much on police and police militarization, and then move it into communities and building better schools, better facilities, paying teachers more.
Yeah.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yes. The police.
What's
Oh, what? No, you go.
I was gonna say go ahead.
The police, I feel like they're only there to prevent crime, and not even prevent crime, but just like that's their job. We know they're not there to prevent crime, but like that's what we're that's what they're trained to do. So like if there's no crime going on, or like a situation that can't be directly solved by putting someone in handcuffs and transporting them to a jail or a holding center, then there's really no need to be calling a police officer, I feel.
Yeah, especially for nonviolent. Like I'm pretty sure I saw somewhere, or I watched a video where police were formed to deal with specifically violent crimes, anything that was violent. But now, you get the same police officer responds to a murder as a cat in a tree that needs help, or as someone locked out of their house, or as whatever. Like whether it's violent or extremely petty, it's the same officer. And so how can they have the same training to do all these different types of jobs?
I'm just putting my AirPods, like connecting my AirPods real quick, because my mom is coming home, I think.
But no worries.
Fine. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people, when they hear defund the police, they think instantly like it's an attack on the police, which they're not necessarily wrong. It is, but like they're not thinking of it in the context of why people want the police defunded. They're just thinking about defunding the police. They think we just want anarchy, or we want to get rid of police entirely. And that's not really the goal. The goal is to not have police be the people that you call when someone is in need of like a social worker or something.
Right. It's to reinvent the police. And
okay,
yeah,
we're good.
It's to reinvent the police, and which, I mean, isn't that something that we should always constantly be doing, is to reevaluate and look at the systems and the way things work. And then if it's not functional at the best level, we should fix it. And people have a hard time grasping that concept.
Exactly. And that's why like I'm glad to have the platform that I have, because that allows me to get that message across to so many more people that probably like wouldn't really be like thinking that way if I didn't say something.
Oh, totally. Okay, so what in your definition, what does ACAB mean?
All cops are bastards.
All cops are bastards. Okay. And that means that they're part of a system that is oppressive to minorities, specifically Black people.
Yes, it's not like saying like all of them are bad people. Like I'm sure that like someone's uncle that's a police officer, once they go home, like they're probably doing just fine once they like take their suit and badge off. But like while they're on the job, they're the ones that are sending people to jail for like a joint or something, or arresting homeless people or kicking them off the streets when they have literally nowhere else to go. Like it's not just people that are shooting and killing unarmed innocent Black folks. Like we all know that's bad, we can all agree that's bad, but like there's more to it than just that.
Sure. uh, have you had any experiences with police that have been weird or unfair?
um I've had I've had multiple experiences with police. Luckily none have really resulted in anything happening, but uh a lot of them I also have been around other white folks that like may or may not have influenced the outcome of the situation. Uh, but it's hard to like know whether or not like you were treated unfairly when you have nothing to like compare how you were treated to,
Mm-hmm.
like how someone else in that situation may have been treated. But um yeah, I've always had like the officer come to my side of the car first and look and shine their lights all over me, even though I'm not the one driving. I can't drive or things of that nature. Like, so there's always things that make someone subtly uncomfortable.
Sure. I remember I had an when I think of white privilege, I have two instances. One had to deal directly with police, and actually guns were drawn. But the majority, the big privilege that I'm thinking of right now is I had a job where I had to talk to a lot of business owners. Now, basically, my day was spent walking up and down busy streets, or not even busy streets, actually, even fairly quiet neighborhoods and rich neighborhoods. And I would talk to business owners, and sometimes a few businesses were closed down, and it looked like I was just loitering around, trying to find my way about. And this is in a white rich area, and I was thinking like, wait, like if my skin color was different, or if I presented myself differently, like I feel like someone would talk to me. At least someone passing by might ask me a few questions, or at the worst case scenario, police would be called on me. And that was kind of my awakening of, okay, this is an example of privilege. This is a big part of what privilege is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just felt like that if I was different, then I would have been treated different, because I wasn't. No cops were calling me. No one stopped me. No one cared. And to be honest, I looked suspicious. Like I was walking around trying to get into businesses. Some of them were closed. I was knocking on doors, like looking through windows, and it just looked semi-suspicious. But I never had a problem. And then my second story is I was walking down the street with my best friend. My best friend this was like 7th grade. He's a gun nut. Like he's crazy. He loves guns. He loves the military. And so he wanted to dress up in military gear and go for a hike with airsoft guns. And, being a 7th grader and being into acting and dressing up and things like that, I was like, sure. So why not? So we put on military gear, and we get these airsoft guns. Of course, since he's a gun nut, he takes off the little orange part to the airsoft gun, so they look pretty real.
Yeah.
And we go on this hike, and and then on the way back from the hike, we're walking through our neighborhood, or his neighborhood, back to his house, carrying these guns. They look like AR-15s with camo full decked out. And some guy drives by slowly. He's on the phone as he's driving by. And so we go, oh, like he's looking at us. He's doing something. We get home, and 5 minutes later, the cops show up, like 4 of them, guns drawn. And like they thought something was going on. They thought we were like about to shoot up a place or whatever. And I open the door, and as soon as like they see me open it, they just holster their guns and they're like, "What's going on? We just got a call that you or heavily armed or whatever. And I was like, if I was a different color, I feel like I could
No.
have been in a much dire situation. Like that
Yeah,
would
you
have been
would have
scarier.
gone. It's literally like
It
what
was
happened
insane.
with Tamir Rice, literally.
Yeah. And so those two instances stand out to me as an example of privilege. Because again, I was a 7th grade kid walking around with what looked like to be an AR-15 in military gear, and the cops showed up. They did have their guns drawn, but they holstered it immediately as soon as they saw, who we were.
Yeah. Whereas with Tamir, that cop felt threatened for his life.
Yeah.
Like that was his excuse. So like
Yeah.
things like that, like people don't realize because some people like they choose not to see it from a different perspective.
So what is your message to like a white person who wants to learn or be an ally? Like what do white people, what do I have to do too? I mean, I consider myself an ally, but I'm constantly learning. What do we have to do to really get on board with this and help fix the solution, or be the solution, help be part of the solution?
You have to be willing to listen to Black people when they tell you how things are for them, and not even just Black people, like people of color in general, but like since this is the conversation, you would have to be willing to listen to Black people and listen to their experiences and understand like how things are for them. And a lot of people like they have like this feeling like they're not racist. They like would never like be racist, but like so many of us are implicitly biased that like they don't even consider to think like about their internal biases, and that plays just as big a part in perpetuating hatred as racism does. So I feel like being able to like check yourself is something that is very useful and underrated.
Just be understanding and willing to hear the other side, or to hear other people's experiences. I know someone, and I hate that I know this person. I was talking to them, and they said they don't think that there's systemic racism. They don't think that Black people are systemically oppressed. And I was like, okay, well, why is that? They're like, because, and they listed a few reasons. And I was like, okay, well, have you I first said, have you lived a Black person's life? Like, if you could, have you simulated it? And they're like, no, of course not. We can't simulate that. I'm like, exactly. Okay. So have you talked to anyone? Have you talked to maybe 5, 10, just a few people who are Black, and asked about their experiences? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, well, why not? And they're like, well, because I don't need to. And I'm like, why don't you need to? And you're like, because I can just see that systemic racism doesn't exist because X, Y, and Z. And I was like, are you joking? Like, you refuse. Right. And this person's a smart person, like book smart wise. And I'm like, how are you going to consider yourself a smart person, score perfect on the math portion of the SAT, yet refuse to look at another person's point of view? Like,
it makes no sense.
It doesn't.
And that's honestly like how a lot of people are. Like they only see it from their point of view, and from like statistics that they get that are cherry picked and taken out of context, like, and they try to justify their hatred with those things. And they're not even willing to like see any other side of it besides their biased side.
Did I lose you?
I can still hear you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, it got a little. I lost you for a second. Yeah, the crazy thing about that is that person cited an older Black man who lived through segregation and said that they wish they still had segregation. That was like their only like citing. They're like, well, I watched this one video of this Black guy, an older Black guy, who's like, I lived in segregation and I lived in desegregation, and I would rather live in segregation. I was like, okay, so you heard one person's experience who's older and not even part of the generation that's experiencing much of life right now, and that's all that you cherry picked. It makes me mad.
Hold on, your audio just cut out for a second.
Oh. Did you get that part?
Can you still hear me?
Yes, I think we're back now.
All right, you can hear me, but I can't hear you. So this is what we're gonna do. All right, this might work.
Can the listeners hear me? Listeners, comment if you can hear.
I can't hear you. This is not cool.
Uh-oh.
All right. I think this should work. Question mark.
They can all hear. They can hear
Okay.
us. I can't hear you now.
You can't hear me?
Oh, now I can. It was delayed.
I can't hear you. I can't wait. Hold on. Are you still connected to my AirPods? I disconnected my AirPods, so like I should be hearing you coming from my computer.
Go to your cam and mic
I
settings.
don't hear anything.
Okay.
Okay, wait. I think I can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Hold on. Is it? Yeah, I can hear you. Oh my
Okay.
God. I don't know what just happened.
No worries. Yeah, I was just basically explaining how this person I knew cited some older gentleman that lived in segregation and said that they would prefer doing that. A black man, which is insane to cherry pick that, considering that maybe that is true for that one individual, but he's also old and not part of the generation that is experiencing most of life. So
we do have a lot of people. Oh, I can't say that word. I can't say that word. I'm not going to say the word on the live though.
Okay.
But we do have a lot of raccoons, is what I'll say.
Okay, so what let's talk about your experience as a bi person. Was it what was your coming out like? Like, did you face friends and family that didn't like it, or that removed you from it, or removed themselves from you because of it?
I may have to like dance around words answering that.
Okay.
But it was not voluntary. It happened maybe like before my sophomore year started, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't the best of circumstances, but people don't really care. So
Sure.
at least the people that like I knew that I chose to be around.
That's great. I mean, that's of course the best way to have a good coming out is to surround yourself with people that are allies or also LGBT.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that luckily, just most of the people that I knew like didn't really care either way. But there were people, there's always people that just like to be lames.
Sure. Is there a problem with homophobia in the Black community? I mean, of course, there's homophobia in every community, but is there I know there are some emphasis on homophobia specifically in Black communities. Is that an issue that you think exists and that should be addressed?
It's definitely an issue, most definitely. statistically, those people are more likely to get HIV as well, just because like of them like having to like do things so covertly and whatnot, and it's just it's very, yes, just to answer your question, yes,
Yeah.
very prevalent.
What's and would the solution just be to continue to educate and continue to have people speak out and speak up for the LGBT community?
Yeah, and a representation is extremely important in that aspect.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, do you want to talk about whitewash history?
Um, which parts?
I mean, I was going to start with Marsha P. Johnson because I actually just,
Oh,
yeah.
hmm?
So there's this movie. I forget what it's called. It's called Stonewall. It came out in 2015, and it's about the Stonewall riots. But Marsha P. Johnson is not like a prominent. I haven't seen the movie, but I read about it, and she's not a prominent figure in it. Instead, it centers around some white, masculine acting gay man from Iowa who finds himself in New York in Stonewall during the time, and
How?
like he's the hero. He's like the white knight of the story.
I can't stand that. I can't
I
stand to
know.
even hear that. That's ridiculous.
And it's crazy because it was Hollywood in 4 years ago, which you'd think that Hollywood's like, oh, it's progressive. But like,
Mm.
no.
It's like so many members of that community don't realize that they would not be where they are had it not been for a black member of their community.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Totally.
yeah,
Black trans woman. And I was gonna say,
yeah.
if it was up to me, I would not what's the word? It's not donate, but I would say that this Pride Month is dedicated to Black Lives Matter because of what's going on. Like we need to act. The LGBT community needs to be like the biggest allies for Black Lives Matter. And so I would, if it was up to me, I would be dedicating like Pride Month, if that's a thing, to Black Lives Matter.
Definitely. That's why I'm glad that Mark Sebastian.
Yes. Yeah.
His
his March?
account, like
Mark.
Mark. Did I
Mark?
say
Okay.
March? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, Mark, his account, he's like letting a bunch of black creators do takeovers of it. I did one, I think it was 2 days ago now. I did a takeovers account for a day, and he's like having, I think the entire week, just different black creators take over his account. And I think that's a wonderful way to get awareness to certain situations out there. But it was funny because I did a takeover of his account, and that same day Mark's account got shadow banned, and they deleted a video I made on his account, like literally an educational video, and I sent it to Mark so he could see like what they deleted, and it was like nothing. Like there was no reason for them to delete it, and they put it back. They deleted it after like 13 minutes and put it back up like maybe 3 minutes later, and he said that's the first video they've ever deleted of his.
Oh my god. Oh my god. What was the context of the video? Like just history or
I was saying why anyone that's not a woman who loves a woman shouldn't say the D word. And that was literally the entire context of the video, like explaining why that is, like the history behind. I made like a comparison, I made an analogy, and that was literally the entire video. And they took it down and then put it back up like after maybe 3 minutes because I sent an appeal.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's TikTok. It's insane. I was saying that someone who's like a tech smarty needs to like make another, like reinvent TikTok. And I was saying like this could actually work if anyone is like a tech person, like recreate it, make it fun, make it similar to TikTok, and then sign exclusive deals with LGBT and Black creators so that we would all like only create over on there instead of TikTok, and then like to help like start the platform. 'Cause I know people would do that. I mean, I for sure would do
I
that
would be down to
if
do
it was
that.
functional. Like I would totally move exclusively to a new platform that's more inclusive. But
like TikTok has literally had my account as well as so many other creators, like literally countless other creators on shadow bans since the blackout. And like I just hit 100,000 followers on my main account, and I'm still getting likes as if I had like 30,000 followers. And
yeah,
like before the blackout, I would get like so many of my TikToks would like thrive and do really well. And now I have to like wait for like a TikTok to like take off even a little bit.
yeah, literally. I have to like ask people to share a copy link just to get views. But no, yeah, it's strange because they said, they released that statement. It's like, oh, we stand with Black Lives Matter, but then they continue to suppress Black voices. Even Jackie thought she was shadow banned, which is insane because she's so huge. She's such a big account. Are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wait, I think this should be good. I need to get new AirPods. They keep like disconnecting and reconnecting.
Oh no.
So I'm trying to figure out like.
Can you hear me?
Or maybe I'll just get rid of them entirely and see if that works. Okay, does that work?
Yeah, can you hear me? Might want to change the output again. You'll have to go down to the output. The cam/mic.
The stream can hear us both, apparently. It's just my computer that's choosing to ruin everything. Hold on. Okay, this is good.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, it's the TikTok thing is terrible. I don't know. They videos that I like, I'll repost a video too that I like that like went viral or like did very well, and like it'll get like 5,000 views, and I'm just like,
I posted the
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I posted the exact same video on both of my TikTok accounts, and the one TikTok it got like maybe 2,000 or 3,000 views, and then my other account it literally got 58 views.
Oh my
And my
god.
accounts aren't that different, like in size, like maybe like by 20,000.
Yeah. Jesus. The funniest thing is when someone says we need a new app. Yes, we do. We need someone to create an app.
Most definitely. And a cool name.
Yes, a cool name. Something that's just gay TikTok, because we don't need any of straight TikTok over on the new app.
I got some of it on my For You page like last night before I went to bed, and that was like literally what made me like leave the app and go to sleep. It was disgusting.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's crazy how Tony Lopez, I mean, and you said this in a video, how he literally shakes his junk and there's dick prints and things like that. And yet, if you even like say the word, as you mentioned, the D word or anything, then it bans it or they take it down.
Like I literally had the word. The only mention of the word, like without it being censored, was in the Wikipedia article that I linked to the history behind it.
Oh
like that
God.
was literally the only like place where it was even mentioned in the entire video. But Tony and Taylor Holder, they can just like go and show their 12-year-olds what they want to show.
Yeah. I made a video yesterday, and it was like I was so proud of it. I thought it was so funny, and it was doing really well. But so, like I responded to a comment. Some comment was like, "You faggots need Jesus. Download the Bible app. It's free." And so I responded to it, and I just said, I was like joking. I was like, I did let Jesus into my life one time, and it hurt. Hispanics have a big cock, and then it cut it off at that. I was gonna say cock. and it started doing so well, and TikTok deleted it, and I was like, okay, whatever. But still, they like the fact that they allowed that person to comment it and didn't take action against the comment, yet they delete my response to it is
Exactly. Like it has its priorities so mixed up, and then they want to go and be like, "But we stand in solidarity with you guys. It's wonderful." It's the clownery jumps out.
the clownery. For sure. How does it? So how does Mark like how? Because I don't have the Wikipedia feature. How does it work? Just only a few people have it.
I don't have it. I had to use it on Mark's account, and it's like at the last page before you like upload or put it in your draft. You can link a Wikipedia article to it, and like why would they take down the video if it had that word in it and like even allow that Wikipedia article to be uploaded? Like it was a completely educational video, but TikTok, they didn't like it. They don't like that. They don't like when we educate people.
No, literally they don't. It's sad. So what are your plans for like what do you think is going to happen? Not your plans, but like what do you see happening in the next few weeks with Black Lives Matter and just with everything going on in the movement? Where is this headed? What is it going to take, in your opinion, to get the equality and equity that Black people deserve and people of color deserve?
I think that I really want to see how this economic blackout goes, because I think that's our next big move. Once we hit this economic blackout, I think that'll be like what really brings people's like attentions, because like people have been they're really trying to just casually ignore it and act as if this is not happening. But when we hit them where it really hurts, because see, the thing is, the boomers and Gen X, like people that are like actually in the government right now that are working, like doing things and making laws, they think that Gen Z and the millennials care about the economy as much as they do.
Yeah.
Like I will gladly sit back and watch this tank. Like I won't buy anything for those 3 days and gladly watch like all the 1%, like the elitists, like run around and scramble, like figuring out what to do, because that means more to me than money.
Right.
Seeing them panic is more important to me than money, and making actual change, because like if they're not going to listen any other way, then just make the economy crash and burn.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that I'm participating in that. I think I'm going to try to call for as my followers to do it as well. I think this, this is something that any ally can help participate in and really make an impact with. What are the dates again? It's June. Is it 7th through 10th?
People are saying it's either the 4th and 7th or the 4th through the 7th. And I'm fine with either. I've been seeing mainly the 4th through the 7th. So get what you got to get before then.
That's I worry though, because 4th of July, and I know like I don't care about that. I'm sure most people who are wanting to topple the system don't really care about that. But I just feel like doing it on a holiday is going to be hard, because people are going to forget, or they're just going to go out anyway. But I hope that
also
we can definitely get it through.
I've also been seeing things of like we're gonna try and make all countries matter trend on the 4th of July. So hopefully that takes off as well too, because then that will like pour a little salt into the wound.
Right.
Yeah, because if the first day doesn't take off, then we can like at least piss them off a little bit and then continue the next 3 days.
Right, and then just tank it. I would just want to say I love Gen Z. I love how just like we're so feisty and we're so like fuck you, we don't care. It's
literally
it's the best. That's why I think, and I hope for sure that major change is going to come out from all of this, because our generation isn't going to stop. Like we're not,
Mm-hmm.
we don't settle for, you know, a pat on the back and then, you know, a cookie. And then we're like, okay, we're cool now. Like we don't settle for that. Like we actually want to see the change, and it has to be real. So
More
I
and more
hope
of
for
us
us.
are coming of age. Like so many of us are
Yeah.
coming of age too. So like if nothing happens now, like they have all the time in the world. Like we're giving them so many opportunities to make change, and it's just gonna like just gonna keep pushing until change gets made and pushing harder and harder. So hopefully we don't have to go harder than an economic blackout, because I really do believe that that will hurt them so bad. And if they don't learn from that, then I don't want to see what people come up with after that, because they're not going to be ready for it.
Sure. Uh, so does it? So let's say the economic blackout happens in a few weeks from now, and it really hurts the economy. Um, do you think that Trump and just the administration and the government in general, like, will do anything? Is this something that is this Black Lives Matter movement going to be going on and going on pretty hardcore until a new administration, or is this something that can hopefully start to resolve in a few months?
I don't. Well, the movement I don't think will ever really be over, because this isn't anything new. Like the Black Lives Matter movement's been going on since like Trayvon Martin, but like the real like civil rights movement like has been going on like since the 1960s and well before then
Mm-hmm.
anyhow. So like I don't really see an end to the movement so much as achieving certain goals and milestones. um, but as for the response, I don't think that Trump will really respond to it. I think the government most definitely will. People like it's not going to go unnoticed, but I don't think like he'll respond in a way that anyone wants him to respond. He hasn't ever like given anyone a reason to believe anything otherwise. So I don't believe that he'll say anything substantial. If anything, he'll make himself look like more of a fool.
Yeah, agreed. Did you see what he said yesterday when they said they wanted to rename military bases named after Confederates or Confederate generals from the Civil War, and he took a hardcore stance on no, that's bullshit. Like he just straight up said that.
On Twitter,
Ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know if it was
or
on Twitter, but he made a statement. Like, yeah,
I'll have to search it up, because like I normally like keep up with stuff like that on Twitter, but Twitter literally suspended me during the have were you on Twitter like when Elijah Daniel like was doing his blue fall?
yeah.
Like they suspended me during that, like
Oh my
literally
god.
overnight.
Oh my god. Were you tweeting blue fall stuff?
I was like I wasn't tweeting blue fall things. I was kind of like being mean to people that were like going against the blue fall things, because people would say stupid things and give out like cherry like picked statistics. I hate the 1350 statistic. People just like always pull that one out, and I got tired of people saying that. So I may or may not have told a couple conservatives to take a toaster bath, and I got suspended indefinitely. Like I've emailed Twitter and they haven't responded yet, but
Take
they
a
said it would
toast.
take a little bit.
That's okay. That's a good one. What is pardon my ignorance, but what is the 1350 rule or law?
Oh, it's the statistic that conservatives love to pull out of their ass, that 13% of the country is African American, but 50% of African Americans make up like violent crimes, which is untrue. And like it's from the 1980s, and it's not a true statistic. And they always neglect the fact that while like if you take their statistic and like just play with it for a second, they always like neglect the fact that with that 50% of violent crimes being African Americans, that 50% of African Americans make up like all exonerations. Like 50% of all exonerations are innocent black people. So like they try and like use this cherry picked statistic to make it seem as if black people are inherently more violent, but then don't show the statistic where it shows that we must also inherently be more prone to being falsely accused or just be inherently innocent. Like that makes no sense.
Right. And to touch on that, aren't black neighborhoods like patrolled a lot more? Isn't there a much heavier
Mhm.
police force? So of course there's going to be more arrests if that's the goal of police is to arrest people.
They don't understand like how the system feeds into itself because like due to segregation and like Jim Crow laws and like things like that, black people were forced into certain neighborhoods and like not a lot of those neighborhoods were wealthy, and everyone knows that poverty is directly linked with crime rate. And when you have neighborhoods that like were forced to become literally all black and self-sufficient and are impoverished, and then you send a police force over there and they find out that people in that neighborhood are committing crimes as you do when you're poor, then the police are going to consistently go in this area where they know crime is like bound to happen. And not, it's not even to prevent crime at some points, but just to fill quotas.
Mm. That's the problem, is that the communities aren't changing. I was listening to a podcast, and there was a former Baltimore police detective or some. He worked in the police department in Baltimore, um, and he opened files from like the 1970s, and he was reading all the arrest reports, just reading all the files, and then he compared that to the same files that were happening today, and it was like verbatim the same thing. It was the same crimes in the same neighborhoods in the same whatever. And he was like, okay, nothing's changed. Like, this is crazy that it's been 40, 50 years and you can cross-reference and nothing has changed. It's the same thing happening. And of course the neighborhoods haven't improved much. And so it is about, I agree to 100%. It's about changing the neighborhoods and taking some money from the police department and putting it into the neighborhoods to create better education, better opportunity, because everyone knows it doesn't take an Einstein to know that lack of education, lack of opportunity produces crime.
Literally.
Yeah.
But they want to ignore that and like try and perpetuate their hate, like their hateful stereotypes, and just perpetuate hate. Like, and for what? For what reason? What is the reason?
Right. I think white people are so afraid of the idea of America not being white. For some
Yeah,
reason, they're afraid.
but it's never been. It literally has never been.
Right. It wasn't white to begin with, and from my point of view, I don't understand why that's a problem. I don't care, as long as I vibe with a person. I don't care who they are, what the color they are. So I don't understand what the big deal is. Why people are afraid of a non-white America? And they always, you see, racists will always pull that statistic where it's like by 2050, it's projected that white people will be the minority in America, and they like use that as some like scare
Something that's
tactic or
bad.
something that, yeah, like, as something bad, as like an anthem of we need to build a wall and we need to do this, and I don't get it.
It's like trying to justify saying that all dogs should literally not be in America except for golden retrievers. Like, what sense does that make? Say you hate all dogs except for golden retrievers, or that golden retrievers are less likely to commit crimes. Golden retrievers are less likely to bark at their owners or something like that. Like, what
Yeah.
sense does that make?
It's ridiculous. Let's see if we have any questions real quick. If anyone wants to ask any questions for either of us or just in general, go ahead and drop it
I see a
now.
lot of people leaving the same emoji.
Yeah, they're leaving the little face. um, that's funny. Someone said, okay, I don't remember what this was in reference to, but they said that we found the solution to world peace.
I
So
mean, this live did seem like it was pretty impactful.
yeah, it's pretty productive for sure. And I hope people, I'm going to post this tomorrow as a podcast if you're cool with that.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
That's my tapestry. That's one of my tapestries. I hate the lighting in here. Ah, that was gross. That was grody.
Where'd you get that tapestry? Just like a local place or?
I got it from Amazon because I was tired of my walls being boring and blank and white. Um, but I didn't really want to paint anything. And I feel like I still need more, but I'm really just trying to hold out because I want to like decorate my dorm and not this room. So
Mhm.
that's the goal.
Feel that. I once had a, this is like the most white person thing ever, but I had a tapestry of Kris Jenner, like that picture of her like drinking the like Moscow Mule or whatever. She's like,
Yeah, I'm trying. I want to get like something funny to like put up on the walls or something in my dorm. But I'm excited to go back to school. I'm tired of making TikToks in this room. Literally, it's like either this tapestry or my other tapestry that's in the background, and I just want to like show my school off.
yeah. Well, you're gonna go back to school and be TikTok famous because you didn't really start before when you were at school, right?
Yeah, I didn't. I started my TikTok like halfway through our online classes, so like the maybe second last week of April.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you'll be recognized on campus probably.
Well, my school is so small because like I go to a music conservatory, so we only have like 950 students like all together, like with our grad students and PhD and whatever. Uh, so like my classmates, they already know, but I want to like get them in on like TikToks and stuff because they're all actors and stuff. So I was thinking I have like a couple ideas for like some POVs or things like that. That would be really cool.
Dope.
So we'll see
Well,
in a couple of months.
yeah, yeah, just a few more months. You got to get through this summer. Um, well, I appreciate you coming on and talking with me today. I think I really enjoyed our discussion. So,
Thank you so much for having me, despite the technical issues.
no worries. It was really fun, and keep up the great content. As always, big fan. So keep it
Thank you.
up.
You too, as well, of course.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
I'm gonna go outside probably and try and catch some of this sunlight while it's still here.
Perfect. Well, have a great day.
You too, and thank you to everyone that was here that joined.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Hope you all have a great day. Bye.
See ya.